Hi there, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in New Zealand, and I'm bringing you another global monthly video hop. So once a month, myself and demonstrators from around the world do projects based on a monthly theme. And this month, the theme is Favorite Sweet. So we're all creating projects from a suite that is our favorite from Stampin' Up! It could be in the mini catalog, it might be in the regular catalog. So I'm actually doing a bundle, not a full suite, but I do have a few extra little bits added in. And most times suites have stamps, dies, designer series paper, and some embellishments. But this time I'm actually doing the bundle, the Gingerbread Man bundle from the mini catalog, which can be found on page 54. And before I forget, when you're finished watching my video, if you'd like to see the other videos of those participating this month, to see some other favorite suites and projects made from those, look at the description below, and I will have links to all the other demonstrators that will be participating. I will also have listed all the products and product codes for things that I show you in today's video. So if you wish to order any, it's quite easy to see which product and code there is, and then contact your demonstrator. Or if you're in New Zealand and don't already have a demonstrator, you can go to my website, michellekritchley.stampinup.net, and order directly from there, or find my contact details if you want to know more information. So the bundle that I'm doing this month is the Gingerbread Man bundle. It's from the mini catalog that's good till the end of the year, end of 2025. And what it has in there is you get the Gingerbread Man stamp set and the coordinating dies. And so on here it's shown a few different cards made with that bundle, because the dies actually cut two with a score line in the middle that can be folded over to make a gingerbread size card. So that's the outside of the card, and that's showing the inside. Now last month we showcased things from the mini catalog, and I actually did the Gingerbread Man in my last month's video. So there's a few tips and about using the dies and how to cut the cardstock to create different types of projects. So I won't be repeating those. So if you want to know those tips, and also about aligning the large stamp for the gingerbread, have a look at last month's September's Global Monthly Video Hop about Gingerbread Man to see that. These are some of the things that I showed there. So this is the Gingerbread Man, and you can see he's a pretty decent size. There's the stamps here, and there's also the dies. Now the dies are in a very big sheet because of the size. So there's lots of different ways that you can dress up your Gingerbread Man, but that's the one that cuts the man himself. And if you cut a full sheet, it's got a score line in the middle, and it creates it so it can fold. So you see there, you end up with two sides with a fold in the middle. And I showed, as I said last month, I showed ways to make it so it can be more than just two. So this is just showing the Gingerbread Man with the clear embossing. The dies also have cut out things like the gumdrops, and there are dies that cut out the facial expressions. So there's stamps. You can just stamp your different faces on there, or if you wish to die cut them, so which is what I did here on the front and the back of the card. And then I put a bit of white cardstock behind it, so the cutout part was white, otherwise it would be see-through. So that's showing the clear embossing. That's showing embossing with the white embossing, and that also shows there's an extra little die that cuts a little line, so you can pretend he's had somebody break his foot off to eat it. And then this is just showing the inside. I've done an inside. There's dies for bows. There's dies for all sorts of things. So I showed that last month. And I also talked about creating one where you end up, I think I've got this folded the other way around. Yeah, I think that's the way I was. There we go. So this one is a 3-person, actually 6, because it's double-sided. And this one, instead of heat embossing, I've just stamped with the white ink, and then I've cut out the various decorative things that you can use to dress up your gingerbread man. And so one side, I cut it so you got 3, and again, the last video I did shows how to set up your die to do that. And so I've got one side with 3 of them on there, the different facial expressions and the different embellishments. And then the other side, I've got 3 other ones slightly different. And that's more of a decoration, so it stands up like that. And you could just maybe add a few more on the end if you want to have a big long set of gingerbread men. So that, and this one was shown last month. And see, that one you could even stand up, and it could have a star. And so that's kind of an extended card. Now I did go ahead and make a card, but I went a little outside the plan. So this looks like a normal gingerbread man card. I put double-sided on there, and I've got the words, the sentiment on the inside. However, this gingerbread man, I made him a little suitcase. Now the suitcase was made with the dies that's from the delivery suite, Santa's delivery suite, I think it is. I think I'll have a quick look to see if I can find that one for you. So there's a die in that set that can create boxes, and if I find it quickly, I'll show it to you. There we go. Oh, North Pole Delivery Suite. So the North Pole Delivery Suite, that one there has a die. So on that suite, there's a die that creates a box that can be folded up to put treats and various other things, and different, you can put different end parts to it, the opening part, heart, a star, or circle. So I used that die from that suite to make his little suitcase. And then these images here are also from that suite, where they have 2 sheets of pop-out die cut pieces. So I took some of the ones that look like stamps. You know how, like in the olden days when people traveled, they'd get stickers and things from the places they went. I added a few little candy cane gems. Those were in last year's mini catalog, and they've come back. They're actually called the Real Red and White Adhesive Back Peppermints. So put those on there, use the circle of the back, and made a little handle. And if you open up the little gingerbread man's suitcase, you open it up, and we've got all his clothing and accessories. Now, the magic with this is I made everything double-sided, because inside them, you might see there's a bit of a thickness there, I put magnets. And so you can see some are sticking. So I've cut everything twice and put magnets on it, made it double-sided. Some of them are the same color, some of them are different colors. And that's because this gingerbread man has magnets in certain spots, so you can dress him up. So there, his hat's there. I think I went with a necktie. Oh, that one's not fitting. That one fits better. So with this one, the reason I made everything double-sided is because magnets have a positive and a negative. So when I put the magnet in, I could get the matching one for there, but I thought it's a waste to have a nothing for the backside. So that's why I made them double-sided. I also made my gingerbread man double-sided, so he can hold a cup on one side, or the other side he can be set up to hold his candy cane, or you can flip the candy cane over. And because of the negative and the positives of the magnets, I can put different things on him. We can give him, what else have we got? We've got little gumdrops to decorate our gingerbread man. Let me see if I can get them apart. They're sticking together. There we go. So we could have different colored gumdrops, or we can have the same color. depending on how you want it. There's even a bow that can be done as on the neck, or I could flip it over and have it there. So this one, because of the nature of putting the magnets on there, I was able to create it into an interactive card. So you can put different things in there. I've even got one of the lollies. Oh, there we go. So you just got to figure out which side to go. So that one is our gingerbread man that you can decorate. I'll just take his little bits off. And it's a card, so that would be quite fun for a child. So to do that, basically you cut 2 sets of the gingerbread man so you can have them magnet sandwiched between. And then once you put your magnet down, then you need to put the matching magnet on the other side with a glue dot, and then press down what you want it to stick to and pull it up, and it'll be the right polarity for your gingerbread man. So we'll just put his little suitcase away and we'll leave him partially dressed. So I'll pop you over here with your suitcase. And another thought on that was this card. So this is sort of like the one in the catalog, showing his little foot's been broken off, and he's saying, oh snap, you know, and this face looking like, oh no, that's painful. But when you open it up, you've got a whole arrangement of clothing items and decorations on the inside. Now, unlike the previous one, which was magnets, this is just done with Tombow. So Tombow is our special multi-function glue. And if you put Tombow, the glue, down, people call it the green glue. It says it's multi-liquid glue. So there's a narrow tip and a broad tip, but the other feature of it is it goes tacky. So it kind of almost becomes like Post-it note type. So if you put the glue down on something and leave it to dry, it then becomes tacky and removable. So it's not permanent. But if you put the glue down and stick something on it straight away, like if I glued this and stuck it straight on my cardstock, it would stick and like normal glue. But leaving it to dry for a bit makes it sticky. So what we can do is we can pull off the different parts and again decorate our gingerbread man. So I'll give him a lolly. He's cold, so he needs a hat. Now, when you do this, you've got to think about where it's going to stick. So I only put the glue on the bottom of this because I'm only sticking it to the bottom of the head. And you can put different things. You can have his, make it a boy and give him, oh, I already put a neck thing on. Doesn't need that. So you can also dress up some little lollies on him. And I cut another piece of the leg, and then I used the white fluffy trim from the Jolly Delivery Suite, wrapped it around that piece of his leg, right around, glued it in place, and then I did the same thing. I left the Tombow to go tacky, so that's why it's slightly discolored there. And so now I can put a cast on my little gingerbread man. So you can decorate him however you want, and then because this is a window sheet in here, you can just stick things there and they're not going to permanently stick to anything. So you can have them there waiting for use later on. And we do sell the window sheets. However, this piece, you might be able to see some lines showing up. That's the piece that was left over from one of my stamp sets, because when they come, they actually have window sheets. So I can just change it over, and he can have a lolly in that hand and a lolly in that hand. So there's my stickable, sticker-like gingerbread man card. Then I thought, what else can I do with this gingerbread man? Well, I did not stop there. I then stamped with the white ink onto some felt, and then using the outline of the white ink, I stitched around it, because I do embroidery and I'm a member of Embroidery Guild. I die cut, so as you can see, our dies do cut felt as well as cardstock. So I die cut the scarf and the hat, but the scarf didn't come out looking that good because it's just kind of straight lines. So even like on this one, I ended up stamping squiggly lines on it to give it a bit more interest and texture. So then I stitched that onto my piece with the gingerbread man, went with some colors around the wavy bits, did his face, and then put a second piece on the back and whip stitched that together, leaving a bit open to stuff it. So I've made myself like a little doll. And the hat, I stitched two pieces together. And because in the original hat, I will show you here, there's a slit. So when I die cut it, there was a big slit there, and it was just, you know, making it quite loose. So I just stitched around the edges of the slit to make it more secure and gave it a bit of decoration, and then stitched on the edges there so I can actually slip his hat onto his head. So he's kind of like a little doll. And the interesting thing with felt is felt tends to stick to felt, kind of like Velcro, not as strong, but so you can just push it on there and see his coffee is staying on his hand. And I did a candy cane. Now with the dies here, the candy cane and several others cut two things in one go. So when you run this through, you get two, the inside and the outside of the candy cane. However, you're going to get one color because it's too difficult to kind of cut two different colors. So when I run it through, I ended up with a white front and a white back. And then I did it again in red, so I didn't waste it, and then just swapped it over, put the white on the red and the red on the white. So he can have a candy cane go in either direction. You could even use it as an actual cane. And see. So that's my little felted gingerbread man. And I didn't stop there. You're probably thinking, oh my goodness, how much more can you do? So I then did another gingerbread man, and kind of hard to see in the lighting, but this is put into the iridescent treat bags, which are online, part of the one of the Halloween suites. And so here he's actually kind of thick. He's thicker than normal, and I'll show you why. So first I'm going to untie it. So I made it like I'm giving somebody a cookie, a gingerbread man cookie. So we'll untie that and pop him out of the bag. And then you can see he's thicker than a normal card. So what I did there is I did the normal card base, and then I cut another one for the top, and then put the foam strips around the edge when I put the top on the front of it to give it some depth, and then decorate it, put the words on the inside. And so this one I heat embossed, but then I stamped in red his face so he'd have the red lips. And then the eyes come from a different suite, and they're the streaked dots. So I used the streaked dots for his eyes, give him nice brown eyes, and did a couple heat embossed gumdrops. So the gumdrops, you can stamp them, you can heat emboss them. And the nice thing with the gumdrops, the stamp has them together. They come as one stamp where they're both together, so you can quickly stamp two at a time to have the two different sizes. So you got the small and the large. But the other thing is there's two sets of dies. So the dies will cut them out exactly how you've stamped them. But there's two sets of those, so you can do lots of gumdrops in one go. So that's my little gingerbread man in here. If you're trying to close up your bag, a quick tip for that is either put a rubber band at the top. Get my gingerbread man back in there. So you can either scrunch it up and put a rubber band around the top to hold it in place while you tie your ribbon, or you can use the tweezers that we have for our embossing. Like so, because they hold, without you holding, they'll hold things shut, so you can do that. or you can use like a twist tie to tie it in place and then tie the ribbon around it. Now I'm not going to tie the ribbon here because that'll just take a little while. So then I thought a little bit outside the gingerbread side of things, and with it being October, I made a, I almost said zombie, a mummy. So I made a mummy, and he opens up. I've turned it into a Halloween card. Now this mummy is using that fluffy ribbon that I mentioned before. That's from the Jolly Delivery Suite, and it comes in a nice big roll. And so there it is here. So it's quite thick, and I've just put glue and stuck down bits, trimmed them off, and moved them around. First I stamped the eyes and put a little color to make them look eerie, and then I've also used the banner and the words from the Halloween set, which I can't think of the name at the moment, but they will be listed below, and so turned him into a little Halloween card. And then this one I won't take credit for. I did see somebody online had done a little snowman. So to make it look more kind of snowy, not just a white card, you add a bit of light pool party around the edges of the card. So hopefully you can see that around the edges. So that kind of almost gives you the impression of ice or snow. And so I just stamped them up. And there's one stamp in there that, this one here, that looks like it's supposed to be eyes, but it's really far apart. And the thing is, it fits right below the eyes. So if you do a light color, it turns it into like blushing cheeks. So if you can see that there. Or you can put it on the front to have buttons if you want. And so there, it's just white cardstock to make my snowman. And then, of course, Christmas is coming up. So we must have Santa. And where you have Santa, you have Mrs. Claus. It is a card, so it does open up. So there's the words inside. But it could also be a decoration. You could just stand them up like that. And because of the fold, it looks like they're holding hands. Now to do this one, some things are probably obvious and some aren't, so I'll talk you through it. The hat, I did it in the white velvet and cut the little top off of it, put that up there, and turned it over to create his beard. This piece here is the ribbon from the bow. So when you do the bow, the die cuts it in 3 pieces. So you have, you can make a bow tie or a regular bow. So this middle part there, I cut the whole thing in white velvet, and I took the middle part to turn into a mustache for Santa. Here is that ribbon that I just showed you. So I've got the full strip there, and these I just cut straight down the center of that strip to give a little fuzz on the edges there. For the clothing on this, what I did is I just used the die, and I just did a red piece of cardstock just through the center. So you could cut a piece that's only about that wide and die cut it like that, which will give you the shape around here. If you make sure you don't die cut one side all the way down, so you just die cut the top part of it, and then the bottom part of the cardstock you leave, and then you shape the way you want, gives you the longer body on here. So if you look on the back, you see her dress hangs further down. And so then I just trimmed straight off the curves on the sides of that piece to make it look like sleeves. Here's the squiggly white die that you can use to cut different embellishments. Here it is. And I think in the book they actually have used a bit at the top to make like yellow hair. I use that to decorate Mrs. Claus's dress, and that again is the rest of that bow, and you can just color the center with red with your pens. This gold piece to make his belt buckle is the largest of the lollies. So those there, I cut the largest one in gold to make a belt buckle. and then just gave her some swirly hair. And that's Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Now, I just wanted to show you another thing and explain how I do this. So if you want to dress up your treats, your gingerbread man a bit more. So like with this one, there's all different types of lollies. You got this one that looks like it might be a wrapped sweet, and candy canes and other ones and lollipops, etc. So here's that same larger lolly, and if you see it's shining, that's because I also die cut a bit of the iridescent treat bag and just glued it on top to give it the look. Oh, I forgot, this is, I can pull that off, to give it that shiny look. So you can see it just gives it shimmer. You could just put Wink of Stella on there to shine it up if you'd like, but I went a step further and I actually made a wrapped lolly. So you see this looks like the traditional peppermints that are wrapped up. And I'll just quickly show you how I did that if you'd like to add that to any of your projects. When you use the dies, the convenient thing with these dies is a lot of things come in twos. Like I already showed you the gumdrops were had the die that cuts 2 gumdrops at one time. And the candy cane cuts 2 candy canes in one time. Here is the lollipop. So it cuts the stem and the top of it, and then it cuts the swirl bit, which you can then glue on top of there. Where have I got? Here we go. So you can see there's the white and then there's the red. The thing is, because it cuts 2 things in one go, you're going to have the same colors. So this red was actually from cutting another one in red. So I ended up with red, and then I ended up with white. And so then I used the different pieces to create different sweets. Like on here, I used the outside bit that's left over on that one there. So I'm just going to show, see if I can make some room here. I'll put you guys up there. Come on, out of my way. So, watch out. Grabbed a candy cane. When you could die cut them, so this is what you end up with when you die cut them. So you end up with, I did a timid tiger. Oh, no, I think that's pumpkin pie, and this one's timid tiger. You can kind of slightly see the different shades. And I did the, is it lemon lolly, the yellow one? So that's what you get when you die cut them. You can kind of see that's the die there. So if you do 2 separate colors, you end up with 2 colored lollies. Now I also cut, that's with Timid Tiger, one of the bases that has like the little bit sticking out. And then there's a die that cuts just a spiral all on its own. This die here cuts spirals. So you can go crazy cutting lots of different colors and things like that. Now what I came up with is normally you just take the insides out, glue them onto there, and you're done, and these are your leftover bits. Throw them away if you want. But you could actually take those and put them on top of things like this, or if you have a punch the right size, you could punch out a circle, and then you could stick it on top of that circle, and that creates, it looks like a lolly as well. Or you can simply take the inside of one and the outside of the other and stick them together and create a lolly like that. That's a bit flimsy on the back, so if you have that, I suggest you do cut a circle, or you can simply glue it onto your lollipop and cut this part off and have your circle lolly there. But I'm just going to show you how to make it into a wrapped lolly. So I'm just going to take these 2 bits. So I've cut a circle and I'm using the outside part, so you still look like I have a swirl on the inside. Let me glue that together quickly. Oh, a bit too much glue. Better just to dot it than to spread. Okay, so instead of picking that up and trying to stick it onto this, take it and stick it on that way. Stick it on the thing that has the glue. And that'll stick it to, because it has glue, we can adjust it, okay? So once you have your lolly set up, then you want your iridescent bags. Now, the iridescent bags can be used as something other than bags. So they're a really good size. So they're about 6 inches by 4 inches. And I think that's about 15 by 10, something like that. And of course they are two-sided. So if you cut straight through the fold, take your fold and just cut straight across all the folds, all 3 folds. You end up with 2 separate sheets of the same size, and then you can trim it down. Now I trimmed this to, I think it was 5 centimeters by 7 centimeters, which is like about just under 3, so it's about 2 by 3 inches roughly. So you can get 8 out of this because you basically cut it that way, and then cut the folds. So you've got 4 on each side. So you can get 8 out of there. And once you have your lolly ready, put the face down. Make sure this is the long way. So that's the 7 centimeter way, or 3 inches. And that's the shorter way, which is the 5 centimeter. Stick your lolly in the center. Get your tear and tape. And once you find the end of it, put some tear and tape on the back of your little lolly. See, this one, because it's orange and yellow, I think it's kind of more like a butterscotch. So you set that in the center. It's good if you can center it as best you can. So I'm just using my squares and seeing, okay, that's pretty much center. And then you want to fold over one side to catch the sticky. And then you're going to fold over the other side. Now 5 centimeters makes it almost just exactly the center. Okay, a little bit of overlap, doesn't really matter, because when you stick it down, you'll put something sticky there to hold it down anyway. So once you have that done, you're going to squish out your sides a bit, make them more controllable. And then holding the center of your lolly, then you want to squish it with your other hand. Squish the sides together, pinch them together, and then just twist. So keep the side with the extra holding that and twist the center around like 2 or 3 times. And nice and tight. The tighter you do it, the better it stays. And you get that like twisted lolly side. So again, holding your lolly center, squish together your excess on the side. See, I must have done this off center because this one has more on it. And then twist it. Doesn't matter which direction you twist it, just keep twisting it. So I'm just going to twist that about 3 times. Okay. And then that gives the look. It should give the look. I squished it a bit. You need to fiddle with it a little bit. But that kind of gives the look of a wrapped lolly. I wish I had one here that I could actually show you, like a wrapped peppermint. But that's also the idea that they're implying with this. It's supposed to be that. So this is the easier way to do it, but if you want to actually have it shiny, and then you can take that and you could like stick it on to, you know, your decoration. So that is the ways you can use all the different inside bits. So with these left over, you can even put those together there. And I could have a couple more lollies. There we go. So those are your tips about using the gingerbread bundle. I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed making things with it. I love the versatility of it. I've even thought about getting some dough out, rolling some dough and stamping in there, but I just haven't got around to it. But you can not only just make your gingerbread men, but you can turn them into themed items like your Santa, your snowman, And I've seen online, if you have a look for these, there's some people that have made, I think, witches and Frankensteins, etc. Anything you can think of, just change up the look of the gingerbread man, and you can come up with lots of different ideas. So I'd love to hear your comments below. Which of these is your favorite design? Which idea do you like the most? And what you think about the gingerbread man. I've had a few people tell me it doesn't really appeal to them, but hopefully watching my video will change your mind, and you will get a lot of fun out of this suite, because I've had lots of fun doing it. So check below for links to the others that are doing the video hop, as well as the information about items that I have shown in this video. If you want to know more about cutting, how to cut things out, have a look at my previous video where I featured this double-sided gingerbread decoration. So thanks so much for watching, and if you make anything with this gingerbread bundle, I'd love to see it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.